I'm Kaylee, and I did a little bit of shopping. So I went shopping yesterday with my mom, and I had a Barnes & Noble gift card that someone had given me for Christmas. So I was like, aha, ha, ha, time to use my gift card. And then my mom was gonna drop me off at work so I could teach, but my first two students of the day canceled their lesson for the day. And so I was like, I have an hour to kill. Whatever shall I do? I know, I'll go to the used bookstore that is down the street. And so I ended up going to two bookstores in one day, really unplanned basically. And I got some goodies. Wah-ha-ha-ha-ha. Before we dive into all the lovely goodies that I bought, we're gonna reach back here to our Booktuber Shoutout book, and we're gonna shout out somebody randomly. Let's see who we get today. Today's shout out goes to Katie's Book Nook. I will leave a link to their channel, so be sure to go over and subscribe to them. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel. You know, only like 30% of you guys are actually subscribed. 70% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed, and that just makes me sad. You guys are missing out on so much bookish fun. So please subscribe and follow me over on Instagram and Storygraph and Twitter and Goodreads and all the places so that you never miss any of my bookish fun. So as we were shopping around in Barnes & Noble, my mom and I discovered that January, unbeknownst to us, January is National Puzzle Month or something like that. And my mom and I and my brother Neil, we love doing puzzles. Like we will get all into it and just sit down for like 6 hours and just do this massive puzzle together. And we get a little competitive about who gets to put in the last piece. So it gets down to like the last 10 pieces, and we're like hoarding them, you know, we're gonna hold on to our little pieces at the end to see who gets to do the last piece. So it's kind of funny. So of course, I had to buy some puzzles. And of course, because it's me, they are bookish puzzles. So I got the World of the Brontes. I already have a similar puzzle that is the World of Jane Austen, and I've done that puzzle twice now, and I love it so much because it has all the different characters from Jane Austen's novels, and I was like, I have to have the Brontes. I absolutely have to have it. So it has all these little characters and different places from the books, and oh my gosh, is that Thornfield Hall on fire. This just looks so insanely cool. And I'm pretty sure, let's open it up here. I'm pretty sure there's like a little poster that tells you all the different characters. Yeah, here we go. So here's our poster, and it lists for you all the different characters and gives a little bit of their backstory and, you know, what they do in the novels. It might be spoilers though, so if you haven't read most of the Brontes, I would be careful about spoilers. And then of course, you know, it gives you the whole layout and everything. So cool. I cannot wait to do this one with my mom and my brother. We're gonna have so much fun. All right, then the other puzzle that I got was the, what's it called? Jinks Bookshelves. There are these 19th century and early 20th century children's books from the Bodleian libraries. And so this is like actual books that were published, right? And so it just has them all laid out, and it's all little children's books. And man, now I need to buy all these books and actually read them. I'm looking on here to see, are there any of these that I actually have read? And I'm not really recognizing any of these titles. Oh my gosh, I might have like just discovered a whole new set of books that now I want to read. No, I mean, like, I don't recognize any of these titles. I don't recognize any of these authors. I may have just discovered like a whole new wish list here, okay? And these are so pretty. I love the colors. You can see like there's gold foiling on some of these and stuff. So this looks amazing. Oh man, this is gonna be a fun puzzle to do. This is gonna be a good one. Well then of course my mom was like, Haley, you can't come to Barnes & Noble and only buy puzzles and not buy an actual book. And I was like, don't worry, Mom, don't worry. I already have a book picked out. So this is the third book in the Howl's Moving Castle series. I don't know why it's been so many years, and I have the first two books. I've read the entire trilogy. I've already read this one, but for some reason I just didn't own it. So I finally sat down and I bought House of Many Ways by Diana Wynne Jones in this lovely paperback, which matches the other paperbacks that I have. So like, why did I wait so long in this trilogy? I just didn't own the last one. I don't know. Sometimes your wish list just kind of gets away from you. But I was like, aha, time to correct the situation. And now I have the entire Howl's Moving Castle trilogy. Hooray! And then off I went to the used bookstore to spend more money and buy some more books. Of course I did. Of course. So the used bookstore near me has recently expanded their collection, and they have almost an entire room now that is exclusively classics. And I was like, oh yes, now we're talking. We're gonna get some good classics. So I found George Eliot's Romola? I don't even know how to say that. Romola, something. I've read a few other books by George Eliot, and it's definitely an acquired taste. George Eliot is sometimes difficult to get through, but I do like George Eliot, and I'm excited to someday, eventually read this one. Probably not this year, because I have other classics planned already for this year. But I'm glad to have expanded my George Eliot collection. And they had a whole section, I don't know, 10 or 12 Anthony Trollope books. And I was going, got it, already have it, already have that one, already got it. And the only one that I did not have was this, An Editor's Tales. So apparently this is recollections of a magazine editor who has suffered so much, besieged by untalented writers wishing to contribute to his magazine. So this is some short stories about an editor, and this sounds crazy hilarious. I'm always wanting to read more Trollope, so I was glad that I found this one. And I found a book by Frances Burney. This is Evelina. I've only ever read one other book by Frances Burney. It was Cecilia, and so I'm glad to have another one of hers because I love Cecilia so much, and I've heard that Evelina is really good. And so I just love this cover. It's so fantastic. So I am definitely, in the years to come, going to be expanding my collection of Frances Burney books. I also, of course, wandered into the YA and middle grade section, and I found a book by Robin McKinley that for some reason I did not already have. I have most of Robin McKinley's books already because she's one of my favorite authors. But this one is The Door in the Hedge. And I'm trying to remember, have I read it, but I just didn't own it? Or what? I'm actually not really sure. Okay, no, I looked it up. I looked it up on my Goodreads, and I actually have this on my Kindle, but I have never read it yet. So now that I have it in physical format, I'm much more likely to actually sit down and read it. So who knows? This one might get read this year. We'll see. We shall see. And then I got into the antique books section, and I made some bad decisions for my wallet, but some good decisions for my shelves. So I saw this lovely set. Of course, the blue one doesn't match, but the other ones all match. And immediately, that was just very eye-catching. This beautifully matching set with this gold foiling or whatever on it. And I started looking at it, I was like, Temple Bailey. I've never heard of this author, Temple Bailey. Who is that? So I started kind of looking at these different ones, and I opened up, I think it was this one, The Silver Slippers, yeah. And I started reading just the first paragraph. Now I'm gonna read this to you guys, and you tell me what you think. Joan, riding down to the sea with her lover, was aware of the day as transcendent in her experience. It was wonderful to have him there beside her, sitting his horse in splendor like a king. That was the way Joan thought of him always, as splendid, like Richard the Lionheart or any of the other mighty heroes of her dreams. It's just so dramatic. It's so super over the top dramatic. It just made me, I literally laughed out loud in the store and people were looking at me, okay? Oh my gosh. And I just started kind of flipping through and I thought, this is so hilarious. I have to have this. So then I looked at the next one, just kind of, okay, are they all like this? And this one is Little Girl Lost. And so the first two sentences of this one, her name should have been Cinderella, but her mother had called her Araminta. So our main character's name is Araminta in this one. So these were $10 each, but I had a credit at the used bookstore because they will accept books in exchange for store credit and everything. So you bring in your used books, et cetera, et cetera. And so I had a credit, and so I didn't end up having to pay like $50 for all of these. Unfortunately, this one is the only one that doesn't match. It's like a different edition, but it's the same, it's the same author. I don't think this is actually a series. These are just standalone, it looks like dramatic romances. And most of these are like from the late 1920s or early 1930s. So this one is 1932. This one is copyright 1928. This one, The Trumpeter Swan, is copyright 1920. The Wild Wind is 1930. And The Burning Beauty is 1929. I kind of expected that these might have like a few illustrations because this type of book usually does have like 3 or 4 illustrations, but they don't. So that was a little disappointing that there's no illustrations in here. Oh, and I'm dropping them. I really just bought them and I'm dropping them. But just look how pretty. I had to have them. So I don't know when I will actually read these books. I don't know. I mean, they just looked so fun and hilarious. And I wonder if maybe that dramaticness, is that a word? Dramaticness is not a word. But maybe that will be toned down in some of the other books, or maybe the rest of the plot will kind of live up to that drama and it'll sort of even out in the end, if you know what I mean. So we shall see. This is, I don't know. I just, on a whim, I was like, let's try a new author and let's try something interesting and different. I think these will be really fun to dive into. So those are the books that I purchased, much to the detriment of my wallet. It's a good thing that I had a gift card from Christmas and that I had some credit at my local used bookstore. Otherwise, I would have spent way too much money and my wallet would not have been happy. But thankfully, the financial damage was not too bad. So please leave me a comment and let me know, what is a book that you just kind of purchased on a whim and maybe then you ended up loving it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.